Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is April 27th, 2024, and we now know the details of what happened in that meeting between Xavi Hernandez and Jan Laporta at Laporta's home when it was agreed that Xavi would continue on as Barcelona's manager. Also, speaking of managers, Rafa Marquez's future is currently unclear at the club. And finally, we now know the details of Pau Cubarsi's contract extension. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and as I announced before, right now I'm out of town. I'm actually in the city of Barcelona. So, as you can see around you, I'm not in my usual YouTube studio. So that's why I'm bringing you this live video because I'm not able to edit. I don't have my computer, my equipment, anything like that. So I'm bringing you this live video just to keep you up to date on Barcelona news. It's not a podcast, so I won't be addressing the chat section. I won't be reading your comments out loud. This is just to keep you up to date. Now, I do have announcements since I am here in Barcelona. I'm going to the Barcelona-Valencia match. I'm going to be taking my camera with me. I'm going to be filming along the route. So I'm going to be doing kind of like a vlog just to bring you guys around with me to the stadium and you guys can get that experience. I'm also going back to the Camp Nou. As you remember, last year, I made a video where I went to the Camp Nou to kind of check out the renovation project. So now I'm going back again to see the progress on the stadium. So stay tuned for those two videos. Anyways, having said all of that, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. All of this helps this channel continue to grow. Now let's start with the news because we do have some pretty bombshell or some pretty top secret, if you want to call it that, details that have emerged about the meeting in Jan Laporta's home where Xavi agreed to stay on as Barcelona manager. Not the meeting right now is being dubbed the sushi meeting. I know it's a little silly name, but that's what they're calling it here in the city of Barcelona, or the sushi agreement, because apparently they ordered sushi and that's when they all came up to an agreement. But the pact is called the Sushi Pact or the Sushi Agreement, which is when Xavi Hernandez agreed to stay as Barcelona's manager. As you know, some board of directors arrived at Jan Laporta's home late at night. The first ones to arrive was Deco, of course, the sporting director. There was also Echeverria, who is Jan Laporta's brother-in-law, who doesn't really have a post in Barcelona and within the club, but does have seem a lot of power within the sporting arena. Something that has bothered a lot of the club members. The fact that Jan Laporta's brother-in-law, is running around the club making decisions when he doesn't have an official position. But anyways, Deco and Echeverria were the first one to arrive, and that's when Xavi kind of gave a plea or gave a little speech, a short one, talking about how he wanted to continue, how he still believed in the project. Also playing on the fact that he's a club man, that he's a culé through and through. Of course, no one doubts that. And once he was done with the speech, he also apologized about he's handled the situation, specifically his press conferences, where he's always, made up excuses for how the team has performed. That's something that the club has not liked for quite some time. So Xavi admitting that he handled that wrong and apologized for it, which Jan Laporta was very appreciative of. Of course, this is something I've criticized Xavi a lot on this channel about his press conferences. I was called a hater, a toxic, etc. But it seems that Xavi Hernandez is admitting to that. And also, it seems that the club were also bothered by that. So it doesn't seem like I'm the only one, unless, of course, you count as Laporta, the club, and Xavi as haters and toxic too. But anyways, he apologized for that, and Laporta was very appreciative of Xavi's apology. And this is when, once he was done speaking, this is when Deco kind of raised his turn or his concerns, saying that if Xavi was going to continue, something had to happen about the team's trainings. It seems like Deco and some people within the sporting direction were not happy with how the team was training, of the team's stamina, etc. So this is when Deco said, okay, if you're going to continue on, something has to happen with as far as physical training. And this is when Deco and the club said, okay, then we're going to hire some people. And as I mentioned in my last video, Barcelona will hire Julio Toz, who's going to be in charge of kind of developing the players' stamina and injury prevention. And then the physiotherapist, Raul Martinez, who's the World Cup winning physiotherapist who won the World Cup with the Spanish national squad. And this is when Xavi agreed to that. Now, of course, Xavi does have his own people within his team, which are Ivan Torres and Nogueira. They're the ones who were in charge of the physical fitness of the team. They're not getting fired. They're simply going to be reassigned. They're going to be doing different roles within the club. And in their place is going to be Julio Toes and, of course, Raul Martinez. Now, another thing that the club brought up was that they didn't like the relationship of Xavi and the press. You know, they wanted Xavi to stop fighting with the press, especially with the Barcelona press. They wanted him to kind of fix the relationship between the press and stop fighting them during press conferences. And also they wanted him to accept the reality, the financial reality of the club. Now, you know, for a while, Xavi or his entourage or whoever were leaking to the press that Xavi was not happy with the signings that he had gotten, that he wanted more signings, you know, signings like Subimendi. And that's apparently the club did not like that at all. So they brought that up in the meeting. They said, look, you need to accept the club's financial reality. We cannot be going out there signing super mega stars. We don't have the financial capability to do that. However, we are going to try our best to make signings, but you cannot be requesting, superstar signings because we don't have the money. We don't have the financial fair play margin. We don't have margin on our wage bill. And it seems that Xavi overall agreed to everything. He didn't impose any of his conditions because he knew that he had mishandled the situation at the club, from his resignation during the press conference all the way to, consistently saying that the team was playing well when they weren't, and that's something that bothered the board of directors. So overall, Xavi accepted all those conditions to agree to the hiring of Julio Toes and Raul Martinez, to fix his relationship with the press, and to kind of accept the reality of the club, the financial reality of the club, which is that they cannot be going out there and making these huge signings that he wants. But anyways, once all that was agreed to, that's when everybody came to agreement that yes, Xavi will continue until the end of his contract in 2025. Then this is when Masip and Soler arrived at the meeting. These are two of the board of directors who were against the continuity of Xavi, who wanted someone new. Once they arrived, Laporta made it clear to them, hey, we have arrived at a decision. Xavi's continuing, so we need to all come together, support him, support the project, and support the idea that he's going to be Barcelona's coach. So this is what pretty much took place and transpired in what they're calling now the Sushi Pact or the Sushi Agreement, where Xavi Hernandez agreed to stay. Now, speaking of managers, the future of Rafa Marquez is currently not clear. We don't know what's going to happen. Of course, as I mentioned in last video, Barcelona have offered Rafa Marquez a 1-year extension. They're very happy with the job that he's doing at Barca Athletic. They want him to continue learning and developing. They consider him a good option B in case something happened with Xavi. But we don't know whether Rafa Marquez is going to accept that or not, because Rafa Marquez's entourage has always leaked to the media that his plan was to train with Barca Athletic for 1 season and then either get the job at the first team or go somewhere else to get a first division job. There's also the fact that some are saying that maybe the Mexican national team are going to want to call up on Rafa Marquez to be their coach. So we don't know whether that call is gonna come and he's gonna end up accepting and leaving to coach the Mexico national team, or whether he's gonna want to coach a first division team since Xavi is now staying and there's no space for Rafa Marquez on the first team. But they are saying that perhaps if Barca Athletic do get promoted to the second division, then maybe then Rafa Marquez would accept staying, because of course this will be a new challenge. Second division is much more difficult than third, so perhaps he would accept them. But for now, we don't know what's gonna happen with a Mexican legend. Now we will end today's video with an update about Pau Cubarsi, because we now know the details of his contract renewal. Of course, as you know, right now Barcelona are in negotiations with Pau Cubarsi to extend his contract. Barcelona want to keep Pau Cubarsi, of course. They want to shield him from any outside influence because he does have a release clause of 7 million euros, incredibly low for a player with such promise as Cubarsi. And that player also wants to remain in Barcelona. So both parties are currently engaged in negotiations. They're very close to reaching an agreement. And now the details of this agreement have been leaked. It seems that Pau Cubarsi will be signing a 5-year contract until 2029. Of course, he can't sign that as soon as until he turns 18, because you can't sign long-term contracts when you're under 18. So a 5-year contract until 2021. His salary next season will be 4 million euros per season, and that will slowly increase until reaching 12 million euros in 2029. So 4 million next season, and it will increase with each season until it reaches 12 million in 2029. And of course, the club want to give him a big release clause to protect them from from outside external factors or external sources or external clubs, whatever you want to call it. But they are increasing his release clause. They're saying it was initially said that it was going to be 1 billion, but now they're talking about between 500 to 1 billion. It doesn't really matter. Nobody's going to pay 500 million and upwards for a player. So this is more of a symbolic number, just to make it clear this player is not for sale. Unless you want to pay, of course, a 500 million to 1 billion euro release clause, which there aren't many or any club that would be able to afford that. Anyways, that is all the news for this video. We'll be uploading one more. As again, I'm in the city of Barcelona right now, so this is why I'm bringing you this short live video. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. I will see you in the next video. And as always, peace, Barca.